Hey everybody, some Gadget Guy here, and you might be wondering why we're looking at a pair of earbuds here. I just wanted to show off, these are my personal V-Moda vibratos, and I've had these for a couple years, and I've beaten the hell out of them. I've even kinked up the cable really bad. I've just always been impressed with V-Moda build quality, and they make some great sounding earbuds and headphones. So showing you all that I am a V-Moda fan, today we're gonna be talking about the Crossfade M-100 over-ear metal noise isolating headphones. Normally I would toss the box right here, but you know how I get about good design, and I love the box styling on these M100s. And so even down to little touches like at this top corner, there's a ribbon that secures the box in place that you have to cut through the ribbon and then undo a clasp to get into the box, to get into your awesome headphones. And just a really pretty presentation. And I love it when companies set themselves apart from just the normal like blister pack or rectangular boxes. V-Moda, not only do they put a lot of design into their actual products, but presenting their products, you always know that you're gonna get a really clean experience. But of course, I've already pulled them out of the box to review them, so now that we've talked about the fancy packaging, we can get rid of it. And during the course of this review, we will also be talking about their Pro style cable. This is the CoilPro cable for the M100s. And we'll also be talking about their BoomPro microphone for gaming and VoIP solutions. And so we're also gonna touch on this guy as well throughout this review. They've sent this pair of headphones extremely well accessorized. And now here is the case that comes with your M100s. I'm gonna take this carabiner off. I love it when companies put carabiners on things. I think that's really cool. It's handy way to attach your headphones to like a backpack or a bag or something like that. But whenever I'm reviewing them, they always get in the way. This molded rubbery plastic shell does a really good job of protecting your headphones. And it feels a lot like sort of a Batman armor kind of a setup, especially like that Michael Keaton style Batman costume. But getting into this packaging, we're treated to a really pretty presentation with an orange interior accents, and then your headphones are cradled lovingly in this really compact shape, this really compact shell. So we can pop these out. We're just gonna set these off to the side real quick. With the M100s, you get two different types of cables, and the modular nature of this headphone arrangement makes for some really cool accessories that you can play with. So all of their cables are fabric or nylon woven, really, really durable. You feel like they've got a lot of tension and a lot of life in them. And they used angled headphone connectors so that you don't put as much stress on the cable. But what's cool about this cable is this is their sharing cable. If I'm listening to music or if I'm watching a movie on an airplane and my wife wants to watch that same movie, maybe I'm watching it on a tablet, this is a built-in Y adapter that you can plug another pair of headphones in and share the audio signal. That's really cool. For out of the box, you get this really awesome little share cable. And then the other cable that we get in the box is a more traditional headset mic. So you have a little microphone that hangs very close to the connector for the cans right there. And that also has V-Moda's control layout. And so this is the other cable that you get. And this is a more traditional cable arrangement, obviously. This is a headset cable, and it allows you to take calls on your V-Moda M100s. All right, we can finally talk about the headphones. These are the M100s, and they are foldable over-the-ear cans. Very, very attractive design. So we can flip these ear cups out, and we can see a lot of the design aesthetic that's gone into them. Again, kind of continuing with this sort of armor plating. These are metal-backed cans. We'll get into sound quality too, but it lends the headphone a very interesting characteristic. We got these nylon-wrapped cables so that even the ear cups, there's a lot of play. You can flip them almost completely inside out from these cables and not have to worry about them pulling too hard on the cable mounts, so that these should last a significantly long time under normal wear and tear conditions. There's a really nice padding going into the headband. It's really sturdy. It's got a good springy feel to it. And then the ear cups extend out a pretty decent size, so that even if you have a gigantic head, like I do, you should be able to find a position where these fit comfortably. And nice, just sort of angled accents, the V-Moda branding, but it's very subtle. And then again, on the top band, we've got sort of V-Moda. It's just sort of lightly embossed along the top of the headband. Very subtle, but yet very distinctive and really nice, sort of swooping, angled, armor-plated, almost knights in armor style design. And so one of the main features of the Crossfade is this modular cable arrangement. So if you want the cable coming off of your right ear or off of your left ear, they give you the ability to pop in on either side. And just taking one of the cables that I showed you that comes in the box, you plug it in and now you can connect it to any device that you want. If you decide that you don't want it on your right ear, but you want it on your left ear, they have these little port plugs. So you can pop out this plug, put in the cable, and then put the plug in the other side so that you can protect that port from getting any gunk in it or getting damaged. And they do give you a spare cover just in case you do lose it, but that you can make sure that you can protect your headphone jack on the headphones from getting any damage or any or getting messed up. Having done a lot of work in recording studios, things like removable cabling or replaceable cabling is a very nice consideration because your cables will wear out over time, and it'll often happen on this like rubber boot assembly where there's flexibility on the cable, and so the ability to just pop this out and throw another one in there is really, really helpful, and it should prolong the life of these headphones. And not only prolonging the life of your headphones, but it also gives us the ability to play with different features and to customize the experience if we want to do things like use a slightly more professional cable. So if you like a really springy coiled headphone cable, those of you who are studio junkies are well familiar with cabling like this. They also have a Pro Coil cable. And the Pro Coil cable actually comes with the same locking piece. The other headphone cables don't. So that when you pop these in, you can lock them in place and there's less give. It's less likely that they'll just at some point randomly pop out. And they come with a spring-loaded boot to protect the edges of the cable right there. So this gives you a lot more flexibility and protection, and you can see it's a thicker gauge cabling than the nylon wrapped ones are. Then you just unscrew it and you can remove it that way. And a common characteristic of professional grade cabling, just like we saw on the earpiece jack, how it can screw into place, on the 1/4-inch jack here, it is screwed onto a 3.5 millimeter connector. So you can connect this over a 3.5 millimeter headset, or if you're constantly in studio and you want to use your M100s there, this actually screws into place. Here, it's got a little bit of a spring on it, so that when you're punching this into and out of consoles or mixers or other types of audio output devices, that your 1/4-inch jack won't just suddenly disconnect from your 3.5 millimeter. This is how we're used to using more pro style gear. It's nice that the addition for this is only $29.99, so it's only a $30 cable extension to give it that slightly more pro feel. Of course, maybe gaming's more your speed, and we can now look at V-Moda's BoomPro accessory attachment, which gives you a boom microphone that connects to the earpiece and kind of gets that mic right on top of your face there. And it also comes with inline controls. So we can either mute the microphone from there, or we can dial the volume up and down for the headset from here, and it has a handy little clip so that you can connect it to your shirt. And this is going to be a really great solution for gamers, but then I've also used it on Skype calls, and it sounds pretty good. And I love how flexible and graceful. Actually, the word is graceful. I love how graceful this little goosenecking boom mic is. It's very fine. It looks really delicate, but then you feel it, and it's a proper metallic gooseneck. And then you can position this wherever you want it to be so that you can be heard and you can sound good while, fragging some noobs on your totes awesome Call of Brotherhood of Warcraft game, which is probably the best game ever because that's what all the hip kids are playing. Yeah. And BoomPro also goes for $29.99. So also like the CoilPro, it's a very flexible attachment. It's a very flexible system to give your V-Modas just, another aspect of how you might want to use them or another usage scenario. So really the major question is going to be, how do the crossfades sound? And actually, I want to show off how the microphone functions on the BoomPro. Okay, so we've got the M100s with the BoomPro connection on my head right now. This is actually sort of how I shot a lot of my videos for CES, was my HTC One and then plugged into my V-Moda vibratos and just using the little headset mic on the vibratos. You can hear they are connected. The HTC One will pull the audio off of the headset when you're shooting video. It's a really nice touch. I like it a lot. So you'll be able to hear what the sound quality is like off of the BoomPro, and I think it's pretty good, especially considering the application that it's designed for. V-Moda has a reputation for releasing very high quality audio solutions, and I love my V-Moda earbuds, especially for that consumer experience listening to music. They definitely employ a little equalization, some EQ, to make bass a little bit punchier and to make the brights a little bit crisper. But again, like my favorite headphones in this consumer space, they're not egregious about it. They're not too aggressive about making that bass too punchy or making those highs too sparkly. That smiley face EQ for people who know what I'm talking about. That type of audio manipulation isn't something that I really appreciate, especially since I spend a lot of time on mixing headphones, mixing professional studio grade monitor headphones. There's an aggressive punch or pop into the bass without it completely overpowering the rest of the lower mid EQ. One of my favorite tests is actually listening to Hard Day's Night, the Beatles, because there's a lot of really intricate drum work that's happening. I mean, Ringo was actually a better drummer than I ever would have given him credit for. But in that intricate drum work, if you're listening on headphones that are way too bassy, you're not going to hear it. It's going to get kind of blurred over. Ditto more modern tracks, like if you listen to WTF by OK Go. There's a lot of crunchy, exaggerated, buzzsaw, hard-edged noise that's happening to create their sonic landscape. And if your headphones are too bassy, all of that is gonna get kind of stomped on, and it's gonna be overly smoothed out. And thankfully, the V-Modas completely avoid that problem. As with most consumer-grade headphones, even really high-end ones like this, I find that those subtle sonic tweaks that they like to mix into the special voodoo of whatever their audio kit is can sometimes work against styles of music like classical and jazz, really complicated arrangements where a really good producer is going to pinpoint in space where the different instruments are, and you get a sense that you're in the club with the musicians or that you're being surrounded by the musicians. And so having headphones that have that subtly aggressive bass punch or that slightly colored or hyped high end means that we lose some of those sonic characteristics. We lose some of that spatial separation. But again, for most of the people who are going to be shopping a solution like this, even those looking at jazz and classical for their primary listening experience, the pros on these things far outweigh those subtle cons, those subtle drawbacks that I think you're only really going to be able to detect if you constantly swap these headphones with like a pair of my $300 studio monitors, and you're constantly putting them back and forth to listen at the most excruciating minutia detail style that us audio engineers actually kind of like to do, but the rest of you guys probably won't be doing when you're shopping your own headphones. And I did an extended listening session going through OK Go and the Fratellis and Alien Ant Farm, some Foo Fighters. I popped in some old school Busta Rhymes and The Roots, Things Fall Apart, one of my absolute all-time favorite albums. And sitting and listening, it also became very clear that while the over-the-ear cups are very good at blocking a certain amount of noise, they are actually quite good for sound isolation. So you don't have to listen to your music quite as loud. You do run into, how do I put this delicately? You do run into some ear sweat problems. So those of you who really like over-the-ear cans totally know what I'm talking about. You know what you're going to be getting into. But if you're moving from earbuds to a proper set of over-the-ear cans, you want to definitely give yourself plenty of breaks while listening to your music, just because otherwise things get a little slimy or a little gross in there, and you'll start culturing bacteria in your ear canal after about an hour of straight no interruption music listening. But that's not a problem unique to the V-Modas. That's just a health and safety awareness tip from some gadget guy to you about any kind of over-the-ear headphone in general. So folks, as you may have guessed by now, I'm very happy with the V-Moda, the M100s. The last thing we really have to kind of talk about, though, is pricing. And these are going to retail for $299 without the CoilPro or the BoomPro attachment cables. Those are separate, and those are $30 a piece. This is definitely catering to a very high-end market, and I think this price is justified. Again, outside of just the audio capabilities of the device, you're paying for a really smart, a really savvy modular system which allows you to swap cables in and out. You're definitely paying for very good sound quality and excellent craftsmanship, just excellent build quality all the way around for a very distinctive, modern, aggressive look without it being overly cyber geeky or anything like that. That price point might push some people out of the market for these, But I think if you're looking for a very high quality experience, these are definitely headphones that I would recommend checking out. So folks, you can find more information on the Crossfade M100s at v-moda.com. I'll leave a link down at the bottom. You know I always take care of you guys. As always, thanks so much for watching, for commenting, for subscribing, and for absolutely for sharing my videos. You guys have been fantastic to me. I've always been very appreciative of it. And I will catch you all on the next review.